City Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Kusamoto.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Murphy.
Here.
Councilmember Churko.
Here.
Councilmember Gross.
Here.
Councilmember Hasselbrink.
Here.
Thank you very much. And before we go into the pledge, I want to introduce staff. Of course, we have City Clerk Wendy Quintanar, City Attorney Michael Doubt, and then City Manager Brett Plumley. Would you introduce your staff, please?
Thank you, Mayor. You have Police Chief Eric Nunez right here,
Chief?
and a 10-minute speech for each one.
At least.
Or the song.
He can do it. He can do it. We have Les Johnson over here, our Development Services Director. Maria Luisa Valdez, our Finance Director. Ron Noda, our Recreation Manager. Sean Connolly, Police Captain. David Hunt is our City Engineer. And Robert Acosta is our Fire Chief.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to go to the Pledge of Allegiance, and following it, that will be the invocation. And I will ask you to remain standing for the invocation. And I would like to defer the pledge to Chief Lori Zeller, who is here and supporting one of our agenda topic items. Chief, please.
Thank you. Please join me as we pledge allegiance to this great flag of our nation. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor Pro Tem.
Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing on this new council as we begin to do the city's business. Looking forward, we ask for your wisdom as it looks like it could be a really monumental year as far as the budget goes. And we also, as always, pray for our first responders all around the world. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, we have presentations today. We'll have two items, one by Southern California Gas Company. We have that, please. And if you wouldn't mind, introduce your name.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Lanae Shields. I'm with Southern California Gas Company. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, City Manager, and residents of Los Alamitos. My name is Lanae Shields, and I'm the Public Affairs Manager for SoCal Gas. SoCal Gas is the largest natural gas distribution utility company in the United States, providing clean, safe, affordable, and reliable natural gas to 21.7 million residents. Including the residents and businesses here in Los Alamitos. The distribution of natural gas allows residents to heat their homes in hot water, cook meals, and dry clothes economically and safely. The employers in your city also rely on natural gas for many industrial applications. SoCal Gas has served communities in California for over 150 years and is committed to being a leader in the region's clean energy future. Additionally, choice and affordability for businesses and residents are and will remain a top priority. I am here tonight to raise awareness of an ongoing issue in California, which many are unaware. California wants to electrify everything. A proposal which did not pass a legislature in 2018 would have required all new buildings built after 2022 to be all electric, and would have required existing buildings to be retrofitted to be all electric by 2030. While this proposal did not pass, you can be assured that more similar proposals will be coming. The choices we make about energy policy today will affect every Californian family and business. Addressing climate change will require us to use all the tools in our toolbox and resources at our disposal, including electricity and natural gas. The challenges of going all electric sound like a simple solution, but the challenges are big and complex. We need an infrastructure that can actually support using reliable energy when we need it. Let me be clear. SoCal Gas does not oppose electrification. If you want to use solely electric appliances in your home, that's your choice. But don't take away the choice from those who want to use other fuel sources. The fact is, virtually every home in Los Alamitos has electricity, and most has natural gas. This is balance. When choosing a home, only 1 in 10 homeowners would choose solely electric appliances. Furthermore, 2/3 oppose eliminating the use of natural gas and agree that natural gas should continue to be an energy choice to keep utility bills affordable. SoCal Gas remains a preferred energy source in California when it comes to heating and cooking. Must be because natural gas is both affordable and reliable, as well as clean and renewable. So of course residents and businesses would love us. I'm alerting you that this balance is threatened, and with it, the economic stability of families and businesses could be threatened too. Forcing homeowners to replace their natural gas appliances could cost $7,200 to retrofit your home, an additional $388 per year in energy bills. Even though we've been providing our communities with safe and reliable service for over 150 years, SoCalGas recognizes and aims to accelerate the use of renewable natural gas. Renewable natural gas is a really neat technology. It's a carbon-negative fuel created by capturing and conditioning gas emissions from farms, landfills, and wastewater treatment plants. Think about cows. We eat cows, they emit emissions. We can capture that and put it right back into our pipeline. Here is an alternative. Biogas and renewable gas is natural gas that comes from organic sources. We can capture some of that gas that is now being released into the atmosphere. Again, we can clean it and put it right back into our pipeline. What's really neat is just 16%. If we deliver just 16% of the gas that we deliver comes from renewable sources, it will have the same effect on greenhouse gas emissions than it would be to electrify all of California. And this is something reasonable that we can do by 2030. This further affirms our commitment to providing affordable, clean, safe energy to the communities we serve. Finally, with the balanced approach, we can achieve goals, preserve choice, and minimize disruption and cost. The point is, you shouldn't have to choose between what some decision makers think is right for California and the environment and the reality of what families can afford. With the balanced energy, you don't have to. Finally, during these winter colder months, we encourage the residents in our communities to continue to practice safety measures in and around their heaters and natural gas appliances. We currently have a dial it down in effect. That's just asking residents to, wash their clothes with cold water, to take shorter showers, etc. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us at 1-800-427-2200. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and I look forward to being your SoCalGas liaison. I'm available for any questions if there is any.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Next presenter is from LSL.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Brian Gruber, independent auditor contracted to perform a financial statement audit for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2018. I'm here this evening to present the financial statements and talk a little bit about our audit process. So we have been engaged to conduct a financial statement audit, and the purpose of a financial statement audit is the expression of an opinion on those financial statements. Management is responsible for what goes into the financial statement, and we express an opinion that those financial statements can be relied upon in all material respects. A little bit about how we form our opinion. We visit the city a couple times a year. We conduct what we call our interim audit in the month of June in 2018. And the purpose of that audit is to obtain an understanding of the processes and systems the city has in place. For example, the transactional cycles, money coming into the city, money going out of the city, and then how that ultimately flows into the financial statements. We do this for the purpose of preparing an audit plan and approach for our final audit, which we conducted in the month of October in 2018. We perform such procedures as obtaining third-party confirmations from the city's financial institutions and other outside parties. We also corroborate the data by obtaining receipts and information and backup and support for those records. We have completed our audit, and we express what is referred to as an unmodified opinion on those financial statements, which is what you would look to achieve in a financial statement audit. We did express emphasis of a matter. This was a result of a change in accounting principle that the city reported and began to reflect for the first time its other post-employment benefits obligations in accordance with GASB requirements. The city did obtain an actuarial study to calculate those those, and we refer to that in our independent auditor's report. In conjunction with our audit, we issued 2 other communication letters. The first is referred to as our report on internal control and compliance, which is a requirement of government auditing standards. As we go through our audit process, the purpose of it is to express an opinion on the financial statements. But as we do that, we may encounter what our audit standards call material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal control. We noted no such matters in our communication, which is good. With regards to compliance and other matters, legal compliance, we noted no instances of non-compliance in our audit. The third piece of communication is our auditor communication letter. We are required by our audit standards to communicate to the governing board if we encounter difficulties during our audit process, if maybe staff and management is not, providing us information timely, or if there are any disagreements during the audit process. And we noted none. With that, I'm available for any questions that you might have. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very much.
Okay. The next item on our agenda, did you want to shut that down? Okay. So the next item on our agenda is oral communications. So members of the public may speak up to 5 minutes on any matter that's in our subject jurisdiction. But if an item is on the agenda, I will ask that you hold your comments until that item comes up. And we have 2 cards right now, and I am going to call up Mr. Vardaman.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Richard Vardaman. I live in College Park North, right next to the flood control pump station. To the new council, congratulations and condolences. We hope you will enjoy your work, and greater emphasis will be placed on repair or replacement of the city's streets, curbs, and sidewalks. We hope that most, if not all, the discretionary spending will be spent for these purposes. One simple thing that could be done is to repaint all the lane dividers on the city thoroughfares with a reflected white paint. Many times after dark and when it's raining, it is difficult to stay within your lane. So I think it's a safety thing. We also hope that the very first discretionary spending will be to replace the pump for the floodwater in the College Park section of the city. This pump was installed almost 50 years ago and was used at the time, had been used at the time. We have been told many times over the recent years that the pump was to be replaced, but the priority seems to place greater emphasis on what we believe to be less important. This pump has failed many times during rainstorms. Until recently, the pump worked okay when it was not raining, but not when it was. The pump has totally stopped, and the city has rented one, and I condemn them for that. I mean, I think, congratulate them for that, that we question whether it has the capacity to prevent flooding of homes during a bad storm. We were fortunate that the most recent storms were less severe than the prediction. Again, we hope this situation will be given the highest priority for discretionary spending. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vardaman. City Manager, so no comments necessary. You had understood. Thank you. And I had reached out to the city manager about the situation over your neighborhood as well, so. Okay, it's okay, Deb, bring it up. Next, we have Stephen Olveda and Alex Duran, our Parks Commissioners.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Stephen Olveda. I'm the chair of the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Commission here in Los Alamitos. It's our Vice Chair, Alexander Duran. And we would like to remind you all of the ongoing feud that we have between the two of us. That's, of course, is the race on the base participation trophy. Very important to us. Anyway, Race on the Base is a great event. The staff does a fantastic job putting it on every single year. We've been lucky to be on the base, and we had such a great event last year and some extra things that went around it with the jumps out of the helicopter and all those things. And we invite you all out to be a part of it. And if you don't, then our name will go on the trophy and yours won't. So there's 2 races. It's the participation overall, which we have more members, so we should win. And then there's also the percentage part of the trophy, is so you guys can catch up to us on that. We shared it last year, so we're going to be out in full force, and so it's up to you to match it. That's all I got for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Alex, you have anything to say?
I second that.
Okay, thanks for being here. Okay, challenge noted. Okay, let's see, next we have Deb Feldman.
No way.
Good evening, council, and congratulations on your new positions, those of you that are new, and thank you for taking care of our city. And that's the main reason why I am here tonight. There's been talk about a possibility of a signal going up onto Enterprise. And with all the building that Cypress has done, with the Ovation Homes, with the new assisted living that will be coming in, Catella is already impacted. And Cypress should have thought about this prior to building anything. They've talked about parks, they've talked about all these other things they're going to do, and they always worry about their people, but they don't worry about our people. And I hope that the entire staff and everyone on council remembers that they are working for the city of Los Alamitos. And we as residents need to be protected. We've not been protected by our council in the past, where the Los Alamitos racetrack was given up. I don't know how legal that was. I don't know if things ever need to be looked at to see, maybe it wasn't done legally and maybe it's still ours. Who knows? But the point of it is a signal at Cypress, at Enterprise, is a very serious problem if they want to do that. Now there's an Ovation, there's somewhere around 254 homes that are going in. You figure an average of 2 people per home. You've got over 500 people on an already congested street. And we have a contract. We have a contract that Cypress, Cottonwood, and Los Al signed. And so we need you as council members, as staff, and everyone else involved who is employed by the city of Los Alamitos to protect us as citizens. That's why you're here. That's why you were nominated. That's why you're sitting on that council, and that's why you're in your positions that you're in, to protect us. We are number one, or we should be number one. And if we're not, then you shouldn't be representing us. So I strongly, strongly hope that you will look at anytime somebody wants to come in and now invade more into our city, that you are the stopping force that will stop them from doing that. There's too much traffic. It's not safe. It's health-wise. God forbid anybody in New Dutch Haven or in Carrier Row has a heart attack or needs medical assistance. How do you get through a busy street with a fire truck or with a ambulance? The streets are impacted. They can't get through. So please, please, if this comes forward, know that the citizens of Los Alamitos do not want this. It's not good for anybody except Cypress, and Cypress doesn't care about us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have Rob Feldman.
Hi, all. Wow. A nice touch, Mayor, of introducing everybody. It's very cool. We know most of the people, but then I guess to be called by first name to come up, you guys know who we are. We've been up here many, many times. Congratulations, Dean, on your appointment. And everybody else, Mark, to you and the other gang that are already here. It's great. As Deb said, you guys, you're up on the firing line, and I'm here firing back. So the addendum that I want to do to what Deb said is I have a 26-page agreement that's here that was done back in 2004. This traffic signal should be a non-starter. It is in here. It's on page 3, number 3. Number 4 talks about modification of Cottonwood's plans regarding Enterprise Drive. It also talks about Cottonwood Way. And I get that the church is a little upset that they said now all of a sudden traffic's going to their at-will signal. Well, they should have thought about that. I truly believe that City of Cypress should put traffic on Cerritos. They don't. They have come right out and said to us, I don't want to bother our constituents. Let's just put it on Catella. And we all know that Catella is just becoming almost it's not a word. You can't travel on it at certain times of the day. I think that besides the traffic signal that would not only precipitate shortcuts even more so through Enterprise, through Carrier Row, through New Dutch Haven, it would make it even worse, the fact that you can't go through Lexington now. People come on Saratoga. I just got a call from somebody who lives in it and says, how can I stop it? Because at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's packed up to Catella all the way down to Howard. That's a whole nother issue. But the big issue is we have so talked about this signal for so long ad nauseum. And again, I say, you all can get copies. I certainly can leave this one with you. 26 pages. We worked for years. We had a great ragtag committee that was involved. I'm sorry that they're not, some of them aren't here tonight, but we have a lot of support on this. And even though I know it's only a signal review, what they're talking about, please, you guys, it's a non-starter. It's in the contract. We don't break contracts. I'm in real estate. If I broke a contract, I'd be in trouble. You guys, if you broke a contract, same thing. So thank you for listening as always, because we wanted to say on record, I know it's not an agenda item, but we'll be back if it continues to rear its head. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak that didn't put a blue card? You can certainly come forward and say anything. If not, I'll go ahead and close oral communications. Thank you all for speaking. Next will be council announcements and sort of just free form. Anybody want to go first?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Churko.
Good evening, everyone. In the past month since our last meeting, I attended the Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control District monthly meeting. I'm proud to say, not proud, but I'm happy to say that there's no new West Nile virus cases. There were none in December, and that's really good news. Mosquito counts are down, partly because of the cold weather, but with these new aggressive, invasive mosquitoes, a lot of people are actually getting mosquitoes breeding inside their house because their houses are warmer and they find standing water in homes, like in unused sink P-traps, for example. So something you got to watch out for. I attended the Orange County Public Libraries Advisory Board meeting. They went over the history of the Orange County Public Libraries, the 5-year strategic plan. I became part of the executive committee, so I'll be able to get more involved in that board. I attended the Budget Standing Committee meeting with Councilmember Hasselbrink. We went over the financial situation and projected budget shortfalls, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the meeting. I attended the Chamber of Commerce dinner. Mayor Kusumoto was there, along with Councilmember Gross as well. That was put on by the Chamber and the city, and I just want to say the city staff that was involved did a great job with that event. And the city manager finally, after a year and change on the city council, finally gave me a tour of City Hall, so thank you for that. I had to rib him a little bit about that, but thank you for that tour. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Yep, I'll go.
Oh, thanks, Shelley.
Not too much going on just because of the holidays, so everything's starting up this week. We have our first OCFA board meeting on Thursday, first one of the new year. Negotiations are continuing to look good with City of Irvine as far as bringing them back into OCFA. They, as you know, they've done their letter of intent to leave effective June 30th, 2020, but it's looking promising that it'll Negotiations are making Irvine look stronger, as well as OCFA with some of the services that we'll be offering. Garden Grove's continuing to look good, joining with 7 stations in North Orange County, which will directly affect us in Seal Beach, which is great. Placentia has issued an RFP for fire services and ambulance services. So the responses aren't due yet, so that'll be up and coming. OCFA has also hired a consultant to do an organizational review. It's, I believe, 1,700 employees. What's unique about this is they're going to be doing it by department and then implementing those changes as those results become, instead of waiting until the whole thing is done and dated. So I thought that was very good. The League of California Cities, we had our board of directors meetings. We'll be starting our OC events this coming year. They're very happy that Brea and Orange are the only cities that are not members of League in the county, but those looking promising that they will be joining with 100% participation for the county. And the convention is in October, and it's back in Long Beach, so we will be very involved with the planning and execution of that convention. And that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Councilmember Gross?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to extend a Happy New Year to everyone. That we're starting off with a lot of good things, I think, coming forward. I attended a League of Cities Policy Committee meeting last Friday in Sacramento. A great deal of information, including stuff regarding the retirement program was provided. The lady that is the I guess kind of chief of staff for the governor came in and spoke. She's head of their cabinet, I guess is what it is, came in and spoke, and I have a great deal of information. I'm putting together a report that I'll submit to the city manager with copies to go to the city council. I had the opportunity to attend the swearing in for Senator Umberg in Santa Ana, and earlier today we had the Regional Military Affairs Committee meeting, which is a monthly meeting over at the Joint Forces Training Base. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I attended the Orange County Sanitation District meeting, and I just wanted to ask the staff, Brett, that, it's the year of the big dig now. We're going to lose a lane on Catella and the boulevard. So it's going to, no matter what we do, it's going to be a mess. But I think we need to inform the citizens as best we can. It's just going to be just like the bridge. When the bridge was done, no amount of preparation really gets you ready for the day that happens. But we do need to at least publicize as much as we can. I'd also like to ask that the 3-party agreement that Mr. Feldman discussed, that you make sure every staff member, every council member has a copy. It's a historic document in the history of Los Alamitos, and everybody should be aware of it. Finally, I look forward to supporting the Youth Center Saturday night at their gala event, and wanted to encourage those who can come. It's a great event. The Youth Center is a great partner. It's a Saturday night. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I attended, as Councilmember Chirko said, I attended the Chamber Award Dinner and installation of the new officers, and I was honored to be able to present some of the awards and, on behalf of the city, the accommodations from the city itself. The thing that we had before this meeting, I want to thank my colleagues. We had a workshop on how we can improve how we manage ourselves as a body up here, and how we communicate better, and how we reach out to other local agencies, as well as our council member. And I want to thank Councilmember Murphy and Councilmember Gross, or Mayor Pro Tem Murphy and Councilmember Gross, about reaching out to Tom Umberg, State Senator Umberg, as well as Assemblymember Tyler Deep. So we'll put that on a future agenda, but I want to just thank the council for working with this. I just thought it's we were doing things really well at the towards pretty much all of last year. Well, maybe the last half of last year. And I think we can do better. Not that we needed to improve, but certainly we want to keep communications going. We want to help staff be as efficient as possible. And on reflection of meeting one time a month, when we enacted that way back when, I was not sure how it's going to work, but the more I think about it, I think it's been really great, because I think you're more effective and efficient with your staff, and we just use use our time as wisely as we can over here. So with that, thank you, colleagues. And what I will say, when we close the meeting tonight, I want to close it in honor of 2 fallen police officers. We have our own James J.J. Jessen, who had passed away recently. He served as a LaSalle police officer. And the other one is in the news, and this one kind of breaks my heart in a way too, is Ronald Singh from Central California, Newman, I guess it is, who was tragically killed. And I want to close in his honor and Officer Jensen's honor. So with that, I'll close council announcements and go to items to City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Want to announce the next State of the City and hold the date for March 20th. Joint Forces Training Base will continue to be a lunch time event March 20th, starting at 11:30, somewhere in that range. Same building that we've had at the past 2 years on the base. And I wanted also let the council and the community know that our school resource officer, Sean Watkins, started today at the high school, and he's being recognized by the school district tonight at their board meeting, which is a good thing for us. And then for a race on the base, as has been mentioned, I think we're going to have to order a new trophy because we gave the last one away to the outgoing mayor at the last meeting.
We know where you live.
But Ron and Emily will be able to pull that one off. But I wanted Ron Noda, our recreation manager, to give a brief update on the upcoming race on the base on the Friday and Saturday coming up in February.
Thank you, Brett. Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. So Race on the Base is coming up, fast approaching this next month. It's scheduled for Friday, February 21st. Friday, February 22nd and Saturday, February 23rd. So we have a ton of events going on that weekend. So we start off Friday night with the Southland Credit Union Glow-in-the-Dark Whimsical Fun Run. It's a great event for children and families to come on out. And then Saturday, we have, again, many events. We have the Honoring Our Fallen 5K Run Walk. We have a new division. It's called the Go Ruck, the 5K Rucking Division. We also have, of course, the 10K Run and the Wheel, and then the 95.9 The Fish Reverse Triathlon. We also have a couple of things that involves the community. So one is the charity campaign, where you can register on behalf of a charity, a local charity such as the Los Alamitos Museum or the Youth Center. They get $5 back for every participant that registers under their charity. And then, of course, we also have the Los Alamitos Unified School District School Challenge. So all the elementary schools are competing. So whoever wins in terms of the elementary school, and the other division is the middle school, with the most registrant, they'll get $500 back to their school. They'll get a popsicle party that's sponsored by the superintendent's office, and then they also get a kind of like a wrestling belt that they can keep and show off, and then it's a traveling belt. So then we'll do this again next year, and whoever wins, whether it's the same winner or a different winner, that belt will go from school to school each year. I would encourage the community and everyone else to register before February 4th, because February 4th, the fees go up. And if you need any more information or you want to register, please visit raceonthebase.org. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next item would be the warrants. So is there a motion to approve the warrants?
I'll move.
Second.
Motion second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kusamoto,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Murphy,
Aye.
Councilmember Turco,
Aye.
Councilmember Gross,
Aye.
Councilmember Hasselbrink.
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 10, the consent calendar. All consent calendar items may be acted upon by one motion unless a council member requests separate action on a specific item. Does anyone want to pull anything from consent?
D and H, please.
D and H, okay. Is there anything else?
I'd like to record an abstention on item B, as those negotiations took place before I was on council.
Okay.
I'll move the balance.
Second.
Motion second. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay. So we have noted an abstention on B. And if we just take them in order on item D, did you want a staff report? Okay.
Just have observation really and a question. On April 4th, at the bottom of the page, we have all the departments coming on the same day in what's scheduled to be a 1-hour meeting. And I really don't feel that that's enough time for 4 presentations, and like to see at least one more meeting to split those up.
Okay.
I'll support that.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve it, or do we need to table it? I think we'd approve it as is, and it'll come back here for an update. Would that be,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, you can approve it as
Is it-
we can modify it based on the direction.
For
Is there,
clarification, it's for the council, or, because it's April 4th for the Budget Standing Committee,
Well,
Yeah.
I was-
and then for city council, it's April 15th.
Right, that's right, I'm looking at the 15th, yes. Thank you.
okay? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Have none. Passes. Okay, the other one is H.
H. This is in your questions, but in reading about it really wasn't H that caught my attention. It was the discussion in H that talks about their tax savings, their interest savings, and I think, Brett, we need to have a discussion of the fact that we do pay interest on our unpaid balance, and we are holding $3 million in reserves, so at 7%, we're costing ourselves $210,000 a year. It's not something we've ever really delved into. You know, we kind of, but it is $200,000 for a city that's looking to make up $350,000 a year in pension costs. This might be there's over half of it right there if we decide to use the money to pay that off. I know there's arguments on both sides, and be happy to, have a staff report down the road that explains us. Obviously not time sensitive, but it is, I think, worth considering.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Murphy, and we appreciate that feedback. And we are working on an ongoing basis with the Budget Standing Committee. You're going to hear a report from them a little bit later in the meeting, but we will take that to the Budget Standing Committee and also bring reports back to the City Council on the interest expense and how that is being allocated, how it's being spent through our pension obligation and the annual premium. The one that is on there for tonight, OCFA, for example, has paid it down and will be paying it off over a period of time. That's what we would like to eventually do as well.
Okay, with that, I'd move the item.
Second.
Okay, so before we vote, so I can get clarification. So this item was pulled, but the real kind of the clever disguise you did is you want to talk about our pension. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, because yeah, pulling
I like
it.
that clever part, thank you.
Well, it was. It was a nice way to segment, but again, so because you're talking about pension, but really this is about OCFA's pension burn down, and that's what we're voting on. Nothing to do with the city. I want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
And I fully support this. So we have motion second. Is there, and all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None. Passes 5-0. Thank you. And thank you, Chief Zeller, for being here in case any questions came up. Chief Costa. Okay, we're going to go on to public hearing. So we have a resolution relating to the master fee schedule, and this one I will ask for a staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Finance Director Maria Luisa Valdez will do the staff report.
The report tonight includes a resolution to adopt a master fee schedule with certain revisions provided by NBS, who are our consultants helping us with this master fee. It was to clarify some fees, and also there's some recalculations that were necessary to properly charge full recovery of the fees, which included NPDS fees, valuation-based inspection fees for permits over $1 million, and modifications to certain police fees to be in accordance with California Government Code. If there's any questions with any of those fees, I can answer them, or less as well. We have made the master fee schedule available to the public at least 10 days prior to tonight's public hearing, and the implementation date for this new master fee is March 22nd, which is 60 days after tonight. In April, though, we will come with a revised master fee schedule, and that will be in accordance with the CPI, so we will have that also for you to revisit for your consideration to be increased by CPI. Only the ones that can be, because there's some that are just capped at state level.
Okay.
And with that, if you have any questions, any other
Okay.
questions.
Any questions, staff?
I have a few.
Okay, please.
How many high and medium permits are there for, on the top of the page? The ones that are going up, I guess, is what I'm asking about.
Probably for two less.
Honorable Mayor, council members. So the way that works with the MPDS permits is there's a very small number of high. I believe we have a half dozen or so that are in that category. A larger number in the medium, and then the low is really the largest of those. And so the highs are inspected every 3 years. So it's not that significant, if you will, from the standpoint of an overall cost. But it is something that is very important. It's critical for us to have that inspection conducted. And of course, the amounts identified are for full cost recovery. But it's a very small, limited amount within our jurisdiction that actually fit that high category.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, so I do have some comments. I did talk with the city manager about this in kind of general, and there are some ups and some downs on the fees, and they're mostly adjusted for cost recovery and what other comparable agencies or local municipalities are charging. So I think this just kind of brings us in line with everything. So with that, I'll open up the public hearing. If any of the members of the public would like to speak on this. And seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public hearings. And if there's any other comments, questions? Oh, Dean, please.
I guess it's good to note that out of the 7 fees that are outlined to us, 5 of them are being reduced. In some cases fairly significantly, and others just a small amount. My concern is that the master schedule was passed 6 months ago. And I'm wondering how these fees are going down if what we were given 6 months ago was considered normal. In other words, building inspection fee, each additional $1,000 beyond $1 million is going from $636 to $364, nearly half. I'm more concerned with how we came up with the $636 the first go-round. The same thing on the one immediately below it. When that fee was presented to us, it was done by an outside company. So was the outside company out of whack?
Councilmember Gross, yes, these are actually corrections to, and ideally, they would have been incorporated into the fees and charges at that time when we went six or 9 months ago. And as the mayor mentioned, and as Maria Luisa mentioned, we will be coming up back to council again in April. We have a 60-day implementation period. So the next time we'll go back with the entire fee schedule will be based on CPI for the next fiscal year. So these are corrections to what was done the first time with the same consultant. We worked with the same consulting firm to finish this.
Okay.
Okay, so any other questions?
No.
Okay, so is there a motion?
So moved. Or second.
Okay, so Hasselbeck moves, Murphy seconds. Okay, and we just do simple vote? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, passes unanimously, thank you. On to 12. 12A, we have discussion items, and A is the, if I understand this, a correction of, I guess, the salary. So do we need a report, or are we ready to vote on this one? Do we don't need a report? No. Okay. Is there a motion, please?
I'll moved.
Murphy?
Second.
Jerko. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Got none. Passed. Okay, B. Update from the Budget Standing Committee regarding fiscal sustainability. So this one, I think this could be interesting. So I'll let you go, and then we'll probably hear from the Budget Standing Committee.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. We had a very good and productive meeting with the Budget Standing Committee and staff last week. It was a dialogue back and forth. We have received outstanding feedback to incorporate into what we are building that will be a PowerPoint to present to the entire community with our target out in July. So it's an ongoing dialogue. We're continuing to get feedback to close the long-term and improve our fiscal sustainability, close the general fund structural deficit that we have in front of us right now. It's the focus continues to be on that 10-year financial forecast, the revenues remaining fairly flat, expenditures primarily attributable to pension expenditures increasing significantly, with the fund balance in the snapshot of time going to zero basically in fiscal year 24-25. So we definitely have a problem that we need to address immediately. As Mayor Pro Tem Murphy said, we will be, through the standing committee, providing ongoing updates to the city council, and we will do individual meetings as needed and as requested by individual council members. We will also be bringing back at the right time, we will get the feedback from the standing committee to bring back a full presentation to the city council on where we are with that PowerPoint and the presentation to the community. And tonight we wanted the standing committee, and as we go forward, the standing committee will give the full council an update. And so we have both of the members, Councilmember Hasselbrink, Councilmember Churko, to give talking points back to the council tonight.
Okay. So unless there's questions on this side, should we let them go ahead and talk about the, okay, please.
Sure, thank you. We attended the Budget Standing Committee meeting on January 14th last week. We discussed the 10-year fiscal sustainability plan and options to close the long-term general fund structural deficit. This included options to increase revenues, of course, but also options to reduce expenditures. Each department will be presenting options to close the gap, and they will discuss programs and services that could be reduced or eliminated, the fiscal savings, the impact on services. And I should say at this point, we are still in the information gathering and learning stage. We are not making any recommendations or making any decisions yet on the Budget Standing Committee, and really we won't be doing that. We'll just be bringing information to the council for the council to be considering and making decisions on. This past meeting, the police department made a presentation that included an overview of the department, staffing levels, comparisons to other departments, and potential programs that could be reduced, and the fiscal savings and service impacts associated with those program reductions. We're going to continue having dialogue with staff and provide updates to the city council on a monthly basis. We're putting together and city staff is putting together a PowerPoint presentation that will present options to provide long-term fiscal sustainability. And the objective of the committee and of staff is to start meeting with community groups in July of this year. Staff will meet one-on-one with the other council members that are not on the committee throughout the process to also receive feedback from them and explain the process that is being developed. And the standing committee will provide regular updates to the council after our meetings. We will start meeting with various community groups in July. I think that's we're getting a little repetitive here. We are bringing David Kane on in late March to help the city manager and the executive team with the city's fiscal sustainability plan and options, and assist with the transition to a new finance director. And our next meeting will be with Development Services to do an overview of their department, analysis of departmental functions and potential program reductions. And also we're going to be taking a tour of all civic facilities, because one of the things that also needs to be addressed long-term is the condition of the civic facilities and potential repairs or other options there.
Thank you.
Yeah, just real quick to add on. One of the things we did a couple months ago, probably back in October, is we just came up with a laundry list of revenue enhancers, expense reducers, and just kind of a potpourri. There was no bad idea. We just really wanted to create a list to give to staff to start looking at the pros and cons of each of these. So when we come back, we're very educated. You will also be very educated on why we would recommend certain things over others. So we've got a couple dates that that is in the forefront. The first one is the 2024, when we go upside down, as you can see on our chart. And then also is March of 2020, in case we do decide as a council to put anything on the ballot. That's the deadline when we would need to decide to do that. So we're taking those dates and backing into that, which is why we have the calendar of our meetings and what we're going to be discussing. Police did an amazing education on options, and it truly was an education on reality. So we'll be expecting that from all of the departments. And like I say, when we make recommendations, it's not because we haven't explored all avenues.
Okay, so questions of the staff or the standing committee members from over here? Dean, you have any questions, or Richard?
I do in regards to, are we duplicating time when the standing committee apparently is going to meet with each department to get a report from them on where they see enhancements, reductions, et cetera. I don't have a problem with them doing that, but I kind of feel that later in the budget calendar, we're going to be talking to the departments too. You were concerned, I think, Mayor Pro Tem, in regards to doing all of them at one time in the evening in a 1 hour period.
It's different, Councilmember Gross, they're different presentations. The standing committee, the presentations, and as Councilmember Hasselbrink mentioned, Police Department did their presentation to the standing committee last time, and we're talking about operations, but not just short-term operations and what the department does, but the potential of eliminating programs and what the fiscal savings is and what the service impact is over the long term, and how, if and how that can factor into closing that gap. So this is more of a long-term focus with the standing committee. With the full city council, we do an operation, Mayor Pro Tem Murphy had suggested this about 4 years ago, and we've been annually doing presentations to the council through the budget process on what the department's all about, the staffing levels, the operations, the program. So it's a different presentation that the departments will be doing, one to the standing committee and then to the full city council.
I'm concerned that the information then passed on to my other colleagues who are not part of that committee, I would like to hear that. I think specifically with the police department, where they're in excess of 50% of our budget, we need to be looking at hard things. I talked several times back when I was on council before about the fact that in many regards, due to the changes at Westcom and all departments being dispatched, from the same center, and if a resident dials 911 and for a police officer and gets a police officer at the front door, is there an issue on what uniform they're wearing? Because right now they could dial 911 to get a police officer, and it could be a CO Beach officer. It could be a Cypress officer. So that's a more efficient use of the manpower in the field. So in doing so, we have a West County Communication Center that's managing the dispatch and the resources of all three departments. Yet we've got three departments with 3 police chiefs, with 6 captains, with 6 or 3 times the amount of sergeants and the amount of equipment. And if Los Alamitos is any comparison to what the budget is for CO Beach, what the budget is for Cypress in terms of manpower, where do we look at combining? What's the benefit to the taxpayer of this city and potentially the other cities? I know Cypress, as an example, has a crime scene investigation unit. Most cities rely on the county sheriff to come out and do crime scenes on large cases. There's things that each department has that's a little bit unique to that department. Is there an advantage of sharing those things in a cost reduction rather than causing duplicative cost? We share with the other 3 cities the SWAT program, and I believe that also picks up Westminster into that measure. We do the same thing on the strategic accident reporting group that goes out, the STAR team. because there's more benefit to those investigators to investigate in the surrounding areas, similar traffic accidents, similar situations, because not every city has those types of incidents. So there's a value in sharing with these other departments. That makes a lot of good sense cost savings wise. The real question comes back is there a cost savings? You know, at the time Westcom was started, the idea was it was going to save money for all three cities. I'm not sure, in looking back now at Westcom, if any kind of study has been done to justify, did we save money in the process of what we've done? I don't know that it's a high-end priority, but I do know that we pay a little bit more than our share, albeit not a lot, to participate in Westcom.
So, Councilmember Gross, if I may, I'm trying to understand if there's a question in there, but you talked about Westcom versus our own.
I'm saying I would like for the whole council to get these strategic things where they're thinking about how to close the gap.
I think
we started right now on police, but
right, but in the budget workshops coming up, I think we'll hear those type of things as well as continuation of this. So, but I'm not sure if you had a question. That's why I'm sorry if I interrupted. But are you
maybe it was just more observation on my part. So
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because I was hoping for to get to a question if there's some direction to the budget standing committee here. Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Murphy.
That's going to be the new title, just Councilman Mayor.
Yeah, no.
Everybody seems to like it. I actually agree with Dean here. I expressed this to Brett this afternoon that even though I've been on the standing committee, I appreciate what you guys do. I know it's a lot of hard work. These decisions are the future of Los Alamitos. I mean, we can't, and it's sad that there's 8 people here, but we can't overestimate or overstate the importance of this chart, this item, that says we're going to go broke in 6 years. Sure, we can probably tinker with it a little and make 7 years, but the overall momentum is cascading against us. And as I said, we can't overstate the problem here. This is bleak, for it's the only word I can come up with. And I do think that it's important that we get the information out to the public. As Shelley mentioned about the laundry list, that should be out to the public. I mean, we all know nobody's going to pay attention, but someday they are going to pay attention to this. When we start voting on what's going to get cut, we're going to have a packed room, and we need to have laid out the history to people of what our choices are. Let them know that we've done extensive work through the standing committee, but I also would have liked to heard the options with the police department. I mean, I'm sorry we missed it, and I think that I would actually rather hear a long-term discussion of each department than go through the actual budget. We've been through that enough. The long-term plan and the ups and downs within each department, the positives and the negatives, to me, I'd rather go to that meeting than just a department meeting that's strictly on the budget. So I feel we should open this up to the public much more than we are, unless somebody really can say why not. But I think this is the issue. This is the issue of 2019 right here, and we need it out as much coverage as we can get. And we get to welcome the News Enterprise back now, and they're going to cover it and at least get it out to the citizens that this issue is there. I mean, people need to see this model and say, this isn't some number. There's no scare tactics here. These are the numbers that are, well developed. I think you did an excellent job, and I thought you did a great job when you brought this out, because nobody wants to deliver bad news, but you did an excellent job in alerting us. But we do need to get this out to the public.
Thank you. So, Councilmember Hasselbeck.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond. One of our goals is, obviously doing the annual budget, and we'll be doing the workshops for that. What we're doing now with the sustainability, that is not part of the budget workshop, and those will actually be part of the regular meetings. What we did with the laundry list is we wanted to give that to staff so we can come out, when we do come out public and saying, look, here's what we went through, here's the data that supports it or doesn't support these different options, and then as a council, we decide how to move forward. I think right now, if we started throwing out a laundry list with absolutely no data backup, it would either throw terror into people, it would start rumors that are unfounded because we have no data. So that is the goal, is absolutely to keep our colleagues informed. But right now, we really need, 35 things that just take a tremendous amount of pros and cons, and absolutely as the police department, as we move forward about what their different options are. What we did with that presentation is, it was an informal, they presented two different options, good, bad, or indifferent, whether they thought this was a great idea or not. They gave us the data we needed. We provided them feedback. They are now tweaking that part of it, and then that will be brought to full council for discussion and also for the public. But I'm just afraid if we just start airing laundry list because it was a brainstorming session, it's just going to cause undue chaos before we even have correct data.
So is it basically you're saying trust the trust card for right now, and then we'll see something?
Trust the card. The budget workshops are the budget workshops, and we need to go through that process. We can't sidestep that process because this year's budget's very important. What we're adding to our responsibilities is getting that long-term budget to be able to bring back proper data to you so we can make educated, informed decisions, knowing all the pros and cons. Because we were bringing up things about, well, what if this, if we do this, what if that happens? And that's what they're going back and tweaking and being able to give us real data on, because it was truly an education for us. So we just want to make sure that this is succinct information to stop any rumors or forecasting of what may or may not happen.
Okay.
And I think what the Budget Standing Committee is helping staff do and the council do is build those presentations that you're mentioning, Mayor Pro Tem Murphy. And I think we can incorporate it through the budget process, as Councilmember Hasselbrink talks about. We're working this to the point where we need to be able to present the presentation to the council and to the public even before we do those community meetings. But yeah, we will be presenting this information to the council.
Okay. I speaking just for myself, but I assume Dean's going to agree, we'd like to be included in the process as early as possible. Fair? Okay, thank you.
In theory, you got 5 people that are going to make the decision. I think all 5 people should be equally as informed in that process, so.
Okay, thank you.
And just to reiterate, I think anyone can come to the Budget Standing Committee meeting. They are public, and the documents are available and they're publicly available, so.
We can't.
Sure you can. You just can't participate as an elected official.
City Attorney?
Then it's a violation of the Browning.
You could sit in on the meeting, but you would not be able to speak or participate in your capacity as a city council member. So you would be able to sit in and watch their deliberations if you would like.
And there's a lot of information in the agenda for our Budget Standing Committee meeting. preliminary information, but it's useful.
Okay, so for my comments, maybe a little bit of a sidestep on this. I spoke at one time with some reporters, the concept, which is not related to the budget, but an assessment district as a way to have local monies that go to a specific purpose. So that is not, I think, part of this, but it would be another source of revenue that might help offset some of the other things. So I don't know if you had that on. I don't need to know, but that's just, I wanted to put that out there as assessment districts. Would the local community stakeholders, business owners be able to tolerate an assessment district that will then have money that goes back for that specific purpose? And that's something staff may be able to work on independently and see if there's any gains to be made there. Again, another creative thing for the just ways to maintain and improve what we have. And the other thing, which may be a lot more controversial, but if this were a business and we were looking at these kind of forecasts, I think we got to start thinking about mergers, acquisitions, and those type of things too. So not that I want to put that out there right now, but that is something when we look at how unsustainable we might be. that is something that, if not this council, future councils will probably have to wrestle with. So take no actions now, but certainly I'll speak to one of you offline and just give you some of my viewpoints on that. But I'll just put that out there right now. Okay, this is a receive and file. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns on this one? Okay, we'll go ahead and receive and file, close that one. And the last thing we have on here prior to adjournment is closed session, and I'll ask the city attorney to take us into closed.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council will now adjourn into closed session to discuss the item on your agenda listed as 13A.
Thank you. Thank you all.